Well, welcome to our Monday night meeting. Participants invite, copy invitation. We got to get over to Stunt Hangar. And there, the bench. This thing could get to be a pain in the ass. New topic. There we go. And paste. Post. All right. We're up and running. Links it at the bench. Didn't do much today. Just kind of got my trailer unloaded, finished unloading from Brodak. Let's see here. And we want to go down with, let's see. Gotta go here. What's up, Steve?
Hi, I'm here.
I hear you. Yeah, that after party thing, we don't run that all the time.
We didn't do much Friday.
I came on and I tried to get off and it went to record and
Oh my. Being weird, huh?
yeah. At least I got my internet back.
What happened?
Some vandal cut the cable
Oh man.
with a chainsaw. They cut the trunk.
Crazy. So are you starting on the fuselage?
Yeah, engine crutch.
Ah, okay. I guess you can't do a crutch for an electric, can you? You
Yeah,
got,
you can. You can. If you want to back mount it instead of,
oh yeah. Which might be easier. You don't have to mess with them collets then.
that's right.
Those were a real pain.
If I was going to do an electric back mount, I would use a 1/4 inch firewall or maybe
Uh-huh.
even 5/16, pretty good substantial piece of plywood. You
Yeah,
could gusset it better as well
right.
in there. And you really wouldn't need all this maple.
No, no.
It could make I can't remember how I did my sorcerer because see, I used a radial mount and I angled the motor and I did it. I think I did it on a crutch. I had an engine, a firewall
Mm-hmm.
with the engine canted it, so many degrees to get it to go out the center of the fuselage. I don't remember I can't remember how I built that. There are no plans for it, and that's been 30 years ago.
So what happened to that airplane?
I sold it to John Lowry at Fox.
Oh,
He's passed away. He's no longer. Some guy wrote me and said that he had my original Viper a few years back, but the covering was all poked out because I sold that to John Lowry too.
huh.
I said, well, that's great, but kind of want to show. I was trying to explain this to everybody about me dropping the. There's iPad Joe. about me dropping the center line.
Yeah.
Okay, this is my fuselage that I've laid out. This is the fuselage that's for a for this Tempest. See, and it's dropped 3/16 of an inch. I don't know if you can see that or not. This line here, the wing is dropped down 3/16 of an inch, and the stabilizer is dropped down 3/16 of an inch. So I really didn't drop anything. I just moved the wood up because of this 3/16 of an inch block that goes here. So everything's still in, the thrust line is still in the same relationship to the wing. It's just that this wood is moved up.
Why did you have to do that?
Well, the way that Randy has his plans drawn, you see how the motor mounts barely touch the wing there?
Yeah.
My
And he
motor
needed,
comes over and captures the bell crank post.
plus
Oh.
he needed room for the pipe underneath the wing, Mark.
Right.
He doesn't have a
Oh.
pipe, so he can lower it down, make
Right.
the motor crutch longer and grab that, and still have good center of gravity on the airplane. I think's what he's looking for also.
Right. So as far as the aft end goes, now there's a 1/4 of an inch added onto the bottom of this. He just uses a 1/4 inch flat piece. I ain't doing that. I'm using a molded top and bottom. If you look, he's got a step here.
Uh-huh.
Well, that's all gone. It's all cut away. That line
Sure.
goes from there. I've drawn a line from there all the way to the landing gear. So all this goes away.
Yeah. He doesn't need all that because he's like a pipe.
Yeah.
That step down hides the pipe and then saves the little wood after the pipe, in my opinion.
Oh, Gary.
Hi.
Hello, Gary.
Hello.
Well, I save a lot of wood after the pipe because there ain't no pipe. I just whack it off.
Yeah.
And if you were, I don't know, did you ever fly a Super Tiger 60?
Oh, yeah.
SB11?
I had a Tiger 60 and a Gypsy for a long time.
Well, I'm talking about SB11.
Oh, no, I never. No.
Well, the SB11 side profile was probably 3/4 of an inch smaller than the pipe profile because they dropped all the wood down to hide the pipe.
Right, exactly right.
And I asked Randy, I said, because that SB11 on a Super Tiger 60 really flew pretty good. And I got a picture of one around here somewhere that I had, but the plans were different. He said, oh, they're all the same. No, they're not, because they weren't flying pipes back then. But he didn't have any, so I'm just going by memory what I did.
What you're doing's fine. It'll be just fine.
Yeah.
Yeah, I had one that Gary Hayjack built for a while with a
Right.
Super Tiger 60.
So if you look at this stabilizer area, the stabilizer is dropped down by
The same program.
right 3/16 of an inch. So everything stayed in the correct orientation. Just move the wood up.
You
That's
still got the 1 3/8 or 1 1/2, whatever center line to center line elevator all stayed the same. I'm not sure all that makes a huge difference in the if you use 1 inch or 1 1/8 or 1 1/4 above the center line. I don't know that makes a lot of difference.
unless you go inline.
Inline.
Inline makes a difference because you got no prop clearance. You don't have a landing gear long enough to clear the prop. If you drop the motor down,
Yeah, I get it.
it runs a prop right into the ground. Let's see what we got here.
You got to have at least a 1/2 inch longer gear, I suspect.
Well, this is 3/4 of an inch. The thrust line is 3/4 of an inch off the datum, datum line.
So 3/4 inch then. There you go.
And 1.5 inches is the center line of the wing off the datum line. So this line here, 3/4 of an inch, I would bet is in line with the stabilizer. And I got 7/8 over here.
7/8, that's okay.
7/8 there, and 1.5 inches on the center line of the wing. And 3/4 inch on the rest line. So they're not all in line.
That's fine. There's so many ways to skin that cat.
Yeah, you just got to put it together and fly it and see if it works good.
Trim the heck out of it.
It'll be fine. I showed how to build these. This one's not finished yet. I got to put another piece of wood in, but I showed how to build these super lightweight engine crutches. This is for a PA, this engine crutch. But this is 1.5 ounces lighter than any other way you can do it. You know,
I like how you captured that in the middle. That's a good program. It's a good solid lot of shaking ability, stay together stuff. That's a good thing.
well, like I say, I try to engineer my airplanes to you know, this part of the motor mount will go on that peg for the bell crank on top of that plywood. So there's like 5 things holding the bell crank in.
You're not going to pull that bell crank out. You'll crush wood someplace else before you move the bell crank.
Lines will break.
Or crush the fuselage, pulling against it.
Not only that, it's all smoothed up with super filler in there too. All locks up and becomes one piece. And the nice thing about doing it that way is that the engine vibration is distributed throughout the wing. So it's not just on the front end shaking like a bitch. You know what I mean?
You're great. You're shaking the whole structure, and all that's good.
Right.
It dampens it out. It way better. In my opinion, that's what makes profiles so hard to get good engine runs. Is there's not much to shake up there to take the shake away.
Well, that's why when I build a profile, they always have a cheek cowl. And if I can get away with it, I try to run an inner cowl. So the fuselage at the leading edge is 1.5 inches wide.
Right.
We used to run a dowel down through the motor mount, through the leading edge when you had them. Remember them big hardwood?
Yes, dowel rod. I've heard of people using arrow shafts and stuff.
I was going to ask if that's still valid.
That solid leading edge, that big old honking monster.
Yeah.
We'd take a 1/4 inch drill and drill down through the motor mounts, through the leading edge, and epoxy all that together.
Trying to transfer the shaking to the leading edge and the ribs to get more.
Right.
The way Hutch built his fuselages, the profiles he got, all whatever there is, building that rascal out of balsa wood and built up, and then he uses. There's no hardwood. He uses more wood on the outside of that hard balsa. Balsa wood can soak up shake better than 64th plywood.
Well, my Thunderbolts, what held the engine in was 16th inch balsa wood.
16th inch.
Yep, engineered. Let me see if I got a mount here. Yeah, here we go. How it worked, it was floating in the fuselage. Fuselage is that wide, the motor mounts are that wide. This
right.
Wide. Well, come on. So from the motor mount over to the edge of the fuselage was suspended like that on one side, and on the other side was suspended, you know, so you had two pieces in there going over to the fuselage side over here
Right.
on both sides. So it was just floating in there on 16th inch balsa wood.
Mm-mm-mm.
And you know, it doesn't take much to hold the engine. That's why I believe that 256 screws would hold a Super Tiger 60 in.
Until one gets loose and starts vibrating, then the rub happens. But yes,
Well, it happens with that with 440s too.
42. The
But I got some engines over here that I've got from people out, you know, at different meets, Super Tiger 60s. They've drilled the holes out to 632. It's like they're building a Harley or something.
I don't know why you'd want that big a one.
No.
Here's an engine right here. I think maybe 3/16 holes. And they're
Oh
huge.
gosh.
That's the sheer strength of that's ridiculous. I don't know.
I just use, when I get an engine like this, I just use them for parts.
Yeah, but when you do that, don't you lose the strength of the mounting lugs on that block?
You don't need all that strength.
The
These are,
squeeze, how
yeah,
things pinch makes a difference too. If it's touching and squeezing, you'd be surprised. You could take two of those fancy wood clamps and clamp engine on each side and not even have any bolts in it and hold it. Just the friction itself holds a lot.
you guys recognize these engines here?
I don't.
These are Tom Lay 60s. This one's a Brian Gardner.
And they did different things to them.
Look at the head. I see how the head has been.
Rounded off.
This is a stock head, and this has been flattened, like there's hardly any fin there left.
Oh, I
yeah.
see.
Yeah.
Huh.
And
Why do they
then-
do that? Just for weight?
I have no idea. Tom's not around to ask him. But the one thing he does that's totally wrong, in my opinion, is that they use these venturis that they drill through instead of putting it there where it belongs. So what I'll do is at the Nats, I'll buy two. I got two of these Tom Lay 60s. I'll buy two venturis from Jim Lee, take this needle valve and spray bar out and put it back where it belongs, and then JB weld them holes closed. That's another thing that happens with this is you can't get the tank high enough or low enough or whatever because it moves it closer to the engine bearer. It needs to be that, I think it's 3/4 of an inch. No, it's 5/8 of an inch off the engine bearer to start with to get the tank height right.
That'll
That's
put
it.
that rascal on pads.
Well, yeah, I do put it on pads, but
Then you got to change your nose a good bit.
yeah.
Hello, Carl.
Hey, how are you?
You snuck in on me. I didn't see you for a minute.
Yeah. That's all right.
My engines are on pads. These are phenolic pads.
Uh-huh.
And it's relieved here. So I got 1/4 of an inch of tank movement before, let's see. Yeah, I got 5/16 of tank movement before I hit the engine bearer.
That's right.
But I always put that pipe insulation on the bottom of them carbon tanks. It's a foam type insulation. See, right now it's higher than what it needs to be, and you just add that insulation in there and get it even.
Or kiss up. Whatever it takes to make it run properly.
Right.
You got room to move things is a good part.
Well, I personally like my airplane to go 1/10 faster upside down.
Steve Barry says, hey, everyone. Daniel Barry Sports Highlights says, yo.
Yo.
And we have 19 watching. And
That's
no
a good
likes.
many.
Got one like.
Good
One
many.
like and 19 watchers. What's going on? Come on, guys.
Oh, 10 likes. There we go. I had to refresh.
That's, yeah, I got 0 on this screen.
Yeah, you have to refresh the, for some reason that doesn't change, even though people post in the chat and the number of watchers changes. See, we just lost 2. It just went down to 17.
Well, did you see that video that I put out on Silkspan?
Parts of it, yeah.
I put out a short, and it's
Oh, I didn't see the short.
and it's connected to this video. It's already got 17,000.
Wow. The short
Yeah.
tells you how people's attention span is nowadays.
Anything over 15 seconds is no good.
That's funny.
Did you see that wing, Joe?
I didn't. I just gonna look at it right now.
No, I'll show you. It's now ready to start.
Oh, that wing. Okay, good.
Now ready to start doping.
Oh, you'd make a good progress. Well done.
I think it's 2 weeks old.
Did you put carbon on the flaps?
Yep.
Okay, I didn't see that part.
There's no silk span on them yet.
Oh, okay.
If you got carbon, you don't need silk span on them.
Well, you do.
Do you?
Yeah. If you want a decent finish, you do.
There's Gordy. How you doing, Gordy?
Hello, Gordon.
In the middle of
Morning.
I'll be running back and forth. Hi, Joe.
Hello. How are you doing?
Good.
Got your patch off. Good job.
I've used carbon fiber before and never had to put silk span over it.
No, I just dope it, sand it.
Yep.
Well, if you sand it all off.
Not if you get 10 coats of dope.
You got to have a base before you can sand it.
Yeah, I always just put 3 coats on it and then silk span it and then 3 more coats and
Feel that. Yeah.
good to go.
I've got some of that carbon fiber from Frank. I think it's good stuff. Have you used that yet, Robert?
That's what's on there.
Yeah, I think it works good.
Yeah. Thing I like about it is where he folded it, I don't have to cut it. It just peels off right there.
Is
at
that
the
right?
fold. And that's a perfect size. Yeah.
I took all mine and unrolled it and rolled it back up on a spool.
I just left it sitting in there.
It's fine.
Bob, I think you mentioned during one of the videos that the carbon fiber doesn't add strength.
No, go watch our tensile strength test that John and I did. The
Okay.
strongest is Japanese tissue.
Huh. Not silk.
We didn't try silk.
Oh,
I think anything you could use with epoxy would make it stiffer.
Well, the epoxy is what's making it
That's
stiff.
what's making it stiff. That's right.
We did a test, and it's on one of the Saturday at John's where we took
okay.
1 foot piece of balsa wood. I think it was 1/8 inch. They all the things that we tested got 3 coats of dope. Then we put Japanese tissue, GM silk span, double-aught silk span. We got bombs going off out there. Double-aught silk span. It's a bunch of tests, and we did carbon fiber. And carbon fiber was we put it on a drill press on a scale and started adding pressure to see where it would break, and carbon fiber was the one that broke first.
I'll be darned.
Well, the one thing the carbon fiber does, when you put it on a fuselage, it makes it harder,
Yes, yes,
so
it does.
it protects it from getting dents and stuff in it.
Yes, it does. I like that about it. But that rice paper, that Japanese tissue, was the strongest in tensile strength
Be darned.
because it's the most dense. It was the lightest but most dense.
So
Is
what's
that
the advantage?
unobtainium now?
What's that?
Is that
What's the-
unobtainium now?
No, you can still get
Oh,
Japanese
you can
tissue.
get it?
So what's the advantage of
Is it Osaka?
Not sure. Go ahead, Gordon.
Yeah, I'll be running back and forth because I'm cooking dinner for my bride.
Oh, okay.
Oh, good for you.
So what's the-
No good for her.
That Japanese tissues, the stuff that I got that was $15 a sheet, you can't get it anymore. It came from some free flight guy in England. Do you know who that is, Bob?
No, I don't.
There's several free flights that's got different kinds of Japanese tissue. There's a
why
couple
you
different
can't get here's a piece of it right here. I think I got one piece left. The reason why you can't get this, and it's so expensive, is that it's 30 inches long.
Is that the Osaka stuff?
I guess. I mean, it's great stuff.
The Osaka's, I think, will be pretty good.
Yeah.
But how they make Japanese tissue is they take it in a frame and dunk it in the water, and it's all handmade. Oh, this was cut, this one. But this is long enough to do a wing with, from it's like silk span would be. But I don't have any more, so
There are some other covering materials that we may not have investigated that the free flight community uses. They got a lot of different ones.
They got some lightweight monocoat type stuff even.
Yeah, that microfilm was a big thing for a long time. And then they got ply span. I have some of that. I never tried it. It looks very light and it looks like it would fill very easily. SIG made that, or SIG didn't make it. They bought it from somebody and repurposed it. But there are other covering materials out there. We just haven't investigated them enough. And you know what? Everybody here knows, of course, what polyspan is, right?
Mhm.
it's dress lining stuff.
Dress linings, yeah.
You know,
This-
polyspan is very, very strong.
Oh yeah.
Roger puts about 4 coats on, lightly sands it, and then covers it with Jap tissue. Because the Jap tissue covers so easy.
Yeah. Fills nicely.
Yeah.
How you doing, Gordy?
Oh, don't know why I'm still here.
That's Sandy back there?
It was.
Yeah,
Say hi. Hi, Sandy.
That's from Bobby Hunt. Yeah.
Wasn't there a discussion about doctor paper for a while?
Yeah, it's a little heavier, but it works. I bought a box of it. I got like 12 rolls of it or something. I've been giving it away to people. I've never used it myself.
Well, I've used it. I've got it over there.
How'd you like it?
It works in a pinch, but it is not as good as the just imagine this, it's not as good as the Brodak light silk span. So it's pretty poor.
In what way is it not good?
Well, when silk span and these papers don't shrink, they relax, and you pull it tight, and then it goes back to its original shape. Well, Dr. Paper, you do all this, and it has a kind of a mushy, like pulp, and then you dope it, and then after you put your airplane on the flight line, it'll bag up just like monocoat.
Yeah.
That's not good.
I got some of that polyspan light, and it worked really good for an indoor electric stunt airplane. Anybody here remember Jersey Jim Martin? The guy who designed the Banshee RC pattern airplane?
I do not.
I do not.
Okay, he was on our world team many years ago, and really good pattern flyer. Well, he lives up the line here from me. And where was I going with this? Forgot where I was going with that. I'll think of
Poly
it.
span.
Oh, polyspan. Yeah. So anyway, he called me up and said, can you build a quick indoor electric airplane? We have a indoor sports facility with a real tall ceiling, and we're gonna fly in there. And we want you to come up and put on a control line demonstration." So I built this little look a little bit like a Trivial Pursuit wing, that shape, and real light. I mean, it weighs like an ounce and a half or something, and it's pretty good size. And I put the polyspan light on it, and it worked great, except for one thing: it's too porous.
Right.
It would take too many coats of dope to fill it. Maybe if you put some zinc stearate in and then put a couple of coats on it, might fill it.
Painted upside down.
Yeah, exactly. And then hit it with a heat gun or something. So it'll. Yeah, I used to do that.
Stay on the outsides. Yep.
Yeah.
In a pinch. In a
It
pinch.
might work.
Well, the Japanese tissue over it sounds like probably a better option. See, the problem with that long Japanese tissue, the stuff that you can cover a big, I mean, I'm sure there's guys like your guy on that video could probably get it done, but John and I had 4 hands on it. We could not get that shit down and make it look right.
Yeah, it's. I've tried to work with it. It's tough. That guy Spedalier, he's no longer with us, but man, he built beautiful airplanes. I have it downstairs. The professor that he did, it was all red Japanese tissue with some opaque trim on it. He had balsa wood fillets, and he covered the balsa wood fillets with Japanese tissue.
Oh my goodness.
And you cannot see a seam in the airplane. You can't see where the seams are, or where, it's like this one piece of Japanese tissue and then some opaque paint over it. It's gorgeous. And it's like he flew it at the 92 Nats, and then he put it on the wall in his basement, and it's been hanging there until he passed away, and his wife gave it to me. And we have it downstairs.
Maybe you have forgotten, Bob,
Go
but
get it.
that's not
beautiful.
the airplane I'm talking about. You have 2 videos. He was great at it, but the other guy with the free flight models.
Oh, that was Larry Cruz.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
He might could do it. I can't.
Well, I got that video, and if you want to, put that video up, you can do that.
Okay, whatever.
I got all those videos for you.
Okay.
And
Hey, Dan Winship came in, looks like.
hi, Danny.
Hi, Dan. And
I'll go get that
Stuart-
airplane. I'll go get that airplane.
yeah, and Stuart snuck in on us, so we're international now.
All right. We got to get somebody on an ocean liner somewhere. We could be international on the ocean.
Oh, man.
Well, John Paris told me that he watched the hangout on the airplane going back to Korea.
Is that right?
Yeah.
Wow.
He
How about that?
Of course, they're in North Korea. They don't let them talk to us.
Yeah.
He probably had somebody on the airplane to get service. Called it up.
And here comes Michael Onke.
They've been flying the heck out of stuff.
Yeah. Oh, Mike.
Oh, Michael.
Hey guys, how's it going, man?
Hello.
Hi.
What you got running in the background? Sounds like a fan or air conditioner.
You wouldn't begrudge me a little cool air on this steamy night, would you?
I think this makes static.
How's that? Is it okay now?
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right, I put it down on low
There you go.
because it's pretty steamy here in Tennessee this evening.
I'll bet.
Yeah.
Well, I
Yeah.
bet.
Same here.
Same here.
Yeah. Same
We
here.
didn't go fly today, although we need to, but we didn't. We just kind of had a shop day and started working on packing the camper. We got some light at the end of the tunnel. We're putting the last half A together. That's what we need to test fly, but we'll do that at Muncie. And I got to make 10 bladders for half A. Then we are officially ready to start putting stuff in the camper and the trailer and pack up. So And we're leaving a day earlier than I thought we were. We were going to leave Thursday, but now we're leaving Wednesday. I was able to get my campsite extended a day early. So we're going to go there so we can wake up at Muncie Thursday morning and have a full day of practice before the pilots meeting.
But when does combat actually start, Mike?
Friday morning, 9 o'clock.
Friday morning, okay.
Yep.
And you're gonna be there Saturday, right, Steve?
I'm gonna be there Saturday, yes.
Okay,
Well, I'm driving up Saturday.
right,
By the
okay.
time I get there and the time change, it'll be mid-afternoon.
Saturday night, yeah,
Yeah. Are they on Eastern time up there?
Yep,
yes.
Yeah. So I don't think we're going to get out of here till like 4 o'clock Wednesday. So we'll be rolling in 11 o'clock Muncie time, probably. We'll be setting up in the dark, but I don't care. It'll be nice to wake up Thursday morning and be there.
yeah, yeah. Dan's got his head in a book over there. What you looking at there, Dan?
Can't see it.
Can't see it. Oh, an old stunt news. All right.
Cool.
Yeah, I saved all my old stunt news.
Let's make him big here.
Yeah.
This is a beautiful airplane. There you go.
Wow.
Nice,
Wood
Bob.
fillets. Yeah. Looks got a little cardinal influence.
Also would flow. And you can't see him seam anywhere on this airplane where the Japanese tissue is joined.
Man.
How does he do that?
Pete Peterson did an article about that one.
Yeah, Pete's really good at this.
He's good at it too. Got an OS engine in it, does it?
This has an OSFP in it, yeah.
Got a Froome spinner on it. Nope, yeah, it is. That's a Froome.
Yeah.
What airplane is that, Bob?
This is called the Professor.
Professor, huh?
This is the second one. I published the first one in Flying Models, and this is the second one. This is the one he flew at the 92 Nats in advance.
Very nice.
Yeah, it's a pretty airplane.
Isn't it cool to have a piece of history in your hands?
It really is. I
I
mean,
think-
you know, and he passed away a couple of years ago, and his wife just got around to inventorying everything, and she's moving to another spot. So she got all the modeling stuff in boxes, and Robbie and I went down and picked it up with Frank and Briaco, and it pretty much filled up the back of my van.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah, tons of balsa wood and a big, huge box of Japanese tissue, which I gave to Tommy Hampshire because he's in a free flight, you know. So it's some nice airplane.
That's a nice airplane. Dang right, that's a nice airplane.
It's light too. It doesn't weigh anything. You know.
Very nice.
Yeah.
Well done, is what I'd say. Well done.
Probably a lot of airplanes floating around and ought to be in a museum some, you know.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I got some hanging at my hangar that are being museums. George Aldridge's 1965 Duster is hanging
Oh,
up.
the AgCat.
That cat is in my hangar on the wall. Take apart.
Wow. I remember that airplane. Is that the original one?
Uh-huh.
Wow. The foam wing.
Foam wing, that's right. Take apart foam wing. Got a beautiful cage in it, cockpit, stick, seats.
I remember we published that.
It's a little different than the plans. This is bigger than the plans.
Hmm.
At least the plans I have.
Hmm.
What engine did he use in that, Bob? Do you remember by chance?
I don't.
I don't either.
I don't.
What are you making there, Dan? You got all the weights on.
It's just a bunch of molds. It's
Pods?
they're bell crank molds. I'm gonna try to switch up from hot dogs and see if I can sell a few of these things and eat a steak.
Make them big.
move up from hot dogs. That's I just caught on.
Yeah. So yeah, there's 15 bell crank molds. Tomorrow I'm gonna lay up that fork bell crank stuff. I'll have that stuff for Bob Hunt. I'm gonna give
You
him
say
some of
those
that.
15 bell crank molds, that's what, half my order?
Say what, Bob?
I said, you have 15 bell crank molds, that's what, half my order?
Yeah, these are the old style. And tomorrow I'm gonna lay up some carbon to actually make some more of those fork bell crank. I'm
Yeah.
gonna make different configurations. I'll give you some. And then I got the landing gear molds ready. Hey, I'm looking at this. It says I'm the leader in video info modeling. Robbins View Productions is totally dedicated to producing professional quality programs that convey huge amounts of useful stunt information with the tight time confines of a videotape.
Wow. Fake news.
At 1998.
Yep.
So
What was that? Was that something I produced?
yeah, this is your ad in Pampa
Oh, okay.
right here.
There you go. Boy, look at that.
Whole page.
Yeah.
So I like going through these old Pampa magazines. Some buddy in the RC club brought me some magazines. It's like 1955, 54, all different stuff. I sort of had to chuckle. The editorial on one of these magazines is mid-50s. They talk about the shrinking availability for flying sites. The growth of the city was encroaching on their flying sites, and they're losing too many flying sites. Of course, back then, it's all a free flight mostly. And I sort of had to chuckle. It sounds like you could have wrote that article today.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
Hey, Bob, what year was Vic Macaluso's F-14? And where can I get a set of plans?
Well, you can get the plans from Flying Models Plan Service. It's online.
Okay.
No, that's still
What year
going?
was it? I'm going to say, I don't know exactly, in the 90s.
98?
Yeah, someplace around there. Yeah. He came back for a short while, he came back and no, actually it had to be before that because he came back from flying at the 91 team selections, I think it was, or 93 team selections. We all went out together and he flew a blue SV-11. But then he left again and went back to RC scale.
I bet that's in the stunt book.
It is, yeah, probably, yeah, you're right.
I bet it is.
And I'll go do a little.
I got it right here. Let me look.
Got a couple comments on YouTube. Phil Bailey gave us a like and then he joined us live. Modir, that's
Mark.
That's Mark. He says Junior, that's Steve Smith Jr., we call him. Came over, we finished putting the Vector together, ready to fly at 47 ounces.
Well, excuse me, guys, there's a phone call. We'll be right back.
Bob, do you remember how much the
Yours is?
yeah, it was.
Yours is in the 60s. It's right
The
at
Vec-
60.
It's too much.
No, not the Vector.
Yeah.
Was it the Vector was 60?
Yep.
Oh, surely not.
No, I don't think so.
Yeah.
The Crossfire is 60 something.
58 or 9, somewhere at 60 ounces. It's not a lightweight.
Well, 47 looks pretty good then.
Yeah. 45 would be better.
42's perfect.
Yeah.
Remember that even a brick will fly, but a light brick will fly better than a heavy brick.
Yeah.
Very true.
Bye.
Light is good, but lighterer is betterer.
A, B, C, D, E, F.
Now Bob's got his nose in a book. How about that?
Hey, Steve, did I ever tell you my power to weight theorem?
I don't think so.
The Bob Hunt power to weight theorem. The more power you have, the less time you have to wait.
Yeah.
Robert,
Yeah,
the Vic Mascaluno, how you say his last name?
Macaluso.
So
His plans on Outer Zone designed for OS Max 35. Classic lines of the Grumman F-14 Tomcat inspired design of pure contest machine. Suggestion of scale realism and a ship engineered for competitive performance. OS Max 35 under the hood. F-14 Tomcat by Vic.
yeah, that's because it's really an SV11.
Yeah, it is. And Outer Zone it ripped off Flying Models. Well, Flying Models owns the rights to that, and they always update their copyright. That's one thing he does. He owns the copyrights, and Outer Zone just ripped it off. That's a rip off of intellectual property.
2016. Thanks to RFJ, whoever RFJ is. The update was 2016. Thanks to RFJ.
Here we go. Here's what it says here. Tomcat by Macaluso, inverted engine, 35, 56-inch span, built up type jet fuselage with the trimmings, twin rudders.
72.
Right, flying models. But there's another one. Tomcat 2, Vic Macaluso inverted engine, 40 with external pipe, 56 and 3/4 plus flaps, trike built jet style with all the trimmings, blah blah. It's 20% larger than the original with the numbers from the SV11.
That's the one. It's that airplane lives in Florida today.
Andrew Jaworski.
That's exactly right. I've handled that airplane.
I had an opportunity to fly that airplane out of Flushing Meadows. He brought it out there.
He wanted me to fly it, and I said, "Dude, that's so
Yeah.
kind of you, but no, I'm not
No,
flying that
no.
airplane."
Man's got to know his limitations.
It ain't my limitations. That airplane may fail me, and I don't want to be the one.
Exactly. I don't want to be flying that thing. Piece of history.
August of 97, page 62.
It's a beautiful airplane. He wanted me to fly it, and I said, "Dude, that is so kind to you, but I'm going to bow out gracefully. I don't want to be the one that something goes wrong and I bust it."
You and
Yeah.
me both.
I have a question about, so if you have a PDF of a plan and you want to get it printed, so you go to the local blueprint shop or whatever, how do they know, or how do you figure what scale to print it at?
Usually there's a scale on the plan.
It's on there.
It's on there.
You hand them your phone with the PDF, and it comes back, and they just make it work. I don't know how, but it does.
Well, is there a scale on the plan itself that they can go by, or what?
I think so on the PDF.
Oh, okay. I've never done it, and I've always and I've wondered how
you can check that when you get the plans made, and it rolls out there. It says 56. You lay your ruler on, it's 58. It isn't the right scan.
Yeah.
You can't just make it bigger because all the wood doesn't scale up. Your quarter's not a quarter anymore. You know,
right.
It's not easy just to go up 10% and say, "Oh, I did it 10%. It's easy." No, it's not. Nothing's going to fit.
So I take my PDF to the UPS store.
Really?
And I email him the PDF while I'm standing there to his email address. And then he walks over to the computer and it pops up in his email. And it's always a guessing game. The young kid's looking at it, and I said, "I want it full scale." So on a couple plans, depending on the way the file's configured, there might be questionable. But they've pretty much figured it out now. They'll print it full scale and it comes out right. But usually on plans, there's like a bar at the bottom. It'll say 6 inches, and it'll have black and white, black and white. So as the thing starts coming out of the printer, just run over there and put a ruler on that little bar scale,
Another way you can do it is if you know it has a 2-inch spinner on it.
Yeah.
2-inch spinner don't come out 2 inches. It ain't right.
Yeah.
The kids around here are pretty good at all that.
Yeah, I think Staples,
Staples where I go.
yeah, they can do it. FedEx, UPS stores, I think they all pretty much do it now.
I think you're right.
So it's not necessary to go to a quote old-fashioned blueprint shop, huh?
Go to a graphics house. Yeah.
I don't even know if those things exist anymore. So,
Oh, yeah, they got to be, because when they build buildings, they have to have multiple copies of the plans. That's who does it.
yeah.
Yeah, there's the one in here in St. Louis called County Blue that I recall. St. Louis Public Library. How about that?
I got a picture here, little self-serving. It's a picture of a contest out of Flushing Meadows that I won with everybody. But the F-14 is sitting in front of the trophy that I got that day. So if you want to see it, I'll view it. I'll show it. But
Yeah, bring it up.
Put it up.
well,
And
I
then
just a
Stuart
little
wants to show
self-serving.
his airplane.
Bob, you got to ask if we want to see one of your pictures. Come on, man.
Oh, there it is.
That is sharp.
Walk over.
That's the second one, the larger one that Andrew Jaworski has now.
That's right.
I can't see the submarine.
Very cool. What motor is that in it?
It's a PA 40.
PA-40 on a pipe, isn't it, Bob? Wouldn't it have a pipe in it?
Yeah,
Yeah,
it's
with a
got a
pipe.
pipe hanging out. You see the pipe right under the star
Yeah,
and
PA
stripes.
40 with a pipe.
You can see the coupler.
That day, I almost got arrested for flying my last flight.
How come?
Well, this is Flushing Meadows, which is a stone's throw from the Arthur Ashe Stadium where the U.S. Open was underway. And somebody had gone in there and with a drone, and they don't know the difference between drones and control line, and they came up to shut us down. And it was my last flight, and they said if you fly, we're going to arrest you.
Oh.
And I told the judges, I said, look, I want to win this thing. I didn't say that. I said, I want to fly. And they wanted me to fly. So I said, look, if I fly and I get arrested, will you all bail me out? And they didn't arrest me. I've been arrested before.
Daily.
Weren't you
Who's
arrested
the guy all the way to
overseas?
the left? I don't recognize him.
That's
Jose
Jose Modesto.
Modesto.
Oh, okay.
And next to him is Tom Luciano.
Yeah.
And then Will DeMauro, Joe Daly,
Yeah.
me, and then
Can't miss Joe.
Yeah.
Yeah. Very neat.
Yeah, man.
Very neat.
I did have some pictures of that airplane. I was looking for them with Andrew holding it, but I couldn't find them.
I think Stuart had something to show us. He had an airplane in his hand.
Yeah. Yeah, I got this given to me.
Buster?
Buster.
Yeah. So I was thinking either putting an FP-25 or an LA-25. I would assume the LA would probably be better. Super Tiger would be better. 46 or
you don't
60.
want no.
Yeah, there you go.
What did you say you had one for sale?
Either one of them. Either one of them. Don't care. Put a 9.4 prop on it and have a nice time.
All right. That's what I'll probably put the LA on. It's newer, so. Okay. Sounds good.
Busters, all those old Go Bird kits were just fun.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, Len's got we're going to do a little fun contest coming up, so he gave me this so I'd have something. There's a fella that was the president of the Bolsa Beavers in Toronto and passed away, so I actually got the Pathfinder you guys saw before. So he gave me
Is Len mad at us or what? He don't come on no more.
No, he's just kind of changed direction on stuff, I think. And he, I mean, he's still flying, but he's not going to get into the competition and stuff as much, I think. He loves building, so he's still having fun.
You still flying every day with that Hefei?
I would assume so. So
That's funny.
hasn't quit that I know of, so I'm
That's
sure
awesome, I think.
Yeah, that's what it's all about. You know, when I took over the reins of Model Aviation, my first editorial I wrote, I was wondering how I should start this out. And I built a little glider. And I said, I built a glider, and every morning, no matter what it's like outside, I'm going to fly that glider across my shop. And that way I can say that that day I flew a model airplane.
I fly just every day too, but it's around the living room with a rubber band
Pretty cool.
airplane.
Joe Gilbert, we flew your Maple Leaf gliders in the shop the other night for my guests.
Did you? Good for you.
We did. We flew them all.
Yeah,
Yep.
thanks for taking care of my friend there.
Oh, you're welcome, man. I'll tell you what, Bob. He is a great guy, and his family is awesome. His wife is awesome. His boys are awesome, and they're Sam's age, so maybe Sam's got some new flying buddies now, albeit for RC. But I think they might fly control line. Maybe it piqued their interest a little bit. But that's what
Sam
we
can
do.
work on them.
It's
Yeah.
all good, Mike. Everything you said's good.
Yeah, good guy, man, for sure. He was Lel was at a car show today with his original 1967 Alfa Romeo.
Oh my God.
Oh my word.
Original paint.
Wow.
Has he told you about
Ooh.
that car, Bob?
What's that?
Has he told you about that car?
No. Yeah.
Well, he sent me pictures. It's like out of James Bond, man. You know what I mean? It's a 67 Alfa Romeo. It's beautiful. And that's his other thing. He does cars. But
Wow.
I think I set the hook. I hope he's ready to come back and do
I know he
something.
felt bad about the crash in the airplane, but
We shook that one off, man. We don't worry about that. We shake that one off and we just keep going, man, you know?
March on.
That's it.
Got another question. This beautiful little Cox plane here. I got to make a motor mount for it. And I was just wondering about using a little bit of like 1/4-inch square piece of plywood along the side here
yeah, with a gusset or something in there.
on both sides.
Yeah.
You use balsa wood gussets.
Yeah,
Yeah,
two little
get some-
triangular balsa wood gussets against the plate.
Well, I thought of putting
1/8
those
inch.
on the
Get some 1-inch angle iron at the hardware store, the aluminum angle for screen doors, and cut them 2 inches long and one on each side and bolt it to it and you go.
Yeah.
Both engine right to that if you wanted to.
what's that?
You could both engine right. You could take 27 thousandths aluminum, build 290s, bolt them to the fuselage,
That's
and
it.
both engine to that 27 thousandths aluminum, and it'll hold it.
Yeah. If
Yeah,
you go
I
to
do have some other stuff like that.
Two little L brackets.
L brackets, just bolt through it, then drill your holes and bolt through that. It
Yep.
don't need to be. It don't need to be a 1/4 inch.
I just thought the wood would be easier just to.
1/8 inch.
No,
Make it 1/8
that's
inch. Oh, that, yeah,
perfect.
there you go.
That's way overkill, but that'd work.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I was just gonna bolt them on here.
That'll
Yeah.
work. Both the engine right to them.
Heck, if we made the
Cut
gussets.
70% of it away. Cut 70% of it away.
yeah.
If you made the balsa gussets wide enough, you could use 16th inch plywood.
Yeah,
Not gonna go anywhere.
that's right. 1/8 inch is sure good.
Yeah. Compromise. Make it 3/32.
I think like a jumping bean and the little Satans, they use like Bob says, probably 3/32 piece of plywood,
Yeah.
and then put gussets on 1/4 inch. It may have been 3/16 balsa triangle stock glued to it, and just wrap a piece of gauze around it, kind of, and epoxy it on there.
Yeah.
But what you have right there will work fine, Sturt. That's
Yeah.
more than you need. You could cut U's out of those to make them lighter, and it'd still be plenty good.
Okay, I'll just use this.
Those would work fine.
That's
Just make
the
sure
easiest
you
way
got a
to
little
go.
room for your engine to have air going up to that.
Hold the airplane up so we can see what it looks like. Okay.
Something I don't know if Len just drew this up himself or so.
It'll be fine.
Yeah, he's got one or something. So yeah, it'll be fine. This is for my. I don't know. Some of you guys may have saw my grandkids that one day.
Sure.
There you
So
go.
It'll work good.
Yeah.
No
they did all
problem.
the sanding.
You could just almost paper clip those on where you think they need to be. Drill the engine, mount the engine, then slide it on the balsa and drill your hose.
Oh, okay.
Or if you think it's going to hit the ground a lot, you can drill 2 dowels through there and make a block that the motor mounts to and rubber band it on there.
Yeah,
There's not a whole lot of power in an 049.
I know.
How many hours were spent at the field by people looking for the rubber bands that held the Cox PT-19 together?
All right. Who here hasn't done that?
I am in the backyard
I have too.
with my
I
grandson.
got mine.
Looking for rubber bands.
Mine's ready
There you
for
go.
that.
Look at
There you
that.
go.
There it is.
You going to fly that up on the L pad?
No, because there's no landing gear on it. Will and I are gonna fly these at the campground. We're gonna
There
fly
you
two
go.
up at the campground, just like we did at King.
2
Orange.
up, just like at King Orange. That's fun stuff right there.
Yep. I am gonna fly the Wenmac F51 on the L pad though. And I showed you guys that already, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
Everybody saw
Does it
that.
run?
Yeah,
Can
it
you
runs.
make it run?
It
Do
looks
that.
like it's got to be nose heavy. Look at the moment on that.
Yeah.
Holy mackerel.
Have
Where's
you
that
made
balance, Mike? Do a CG bounce on that right quick. On the leading edge? Yes. Put some tail weight on that pig before you fly it.
That's the leading edge, man.
Put some tail weight on that pig, Michael. It's gonna
That's
fly.
perfect.
Oh, wow.
Might crash it before you fly it.
We'll figure it out. I'm probably gonna short line it with like some 25s, something
That's
I can
right.
at least whip it with if I have to. And
That's
I'll-
right. It
I
may
don't
take
wanna
full up to
destroy
stay in the air. It may take full up just to stay in the air.
Yeah, I don't want to destroy it. I have a plan. I'm gonna short line it, and I'll fly. I'll try to fly it as high as it'll go. But when it gets near the end of the tank, I'm gonna bring it down to like a foot off the deck. So when the engine quits, she just sets down on that.
Yeah, because it's going to glide like a set of keys.
Hey, right, exactly.
Yeah.
I'm not new, man. It's not my first rodeo flying this big, heavy plastic crap. I know all about
27 pounds per square foot airplane.
it. Yeah.
We got some more comments on YouTube. Bob Hudak says, "Good evening, everyone. Want to say we have a special guest showed up at the Cuyahoga County Fairgrounds Flying Circles. Tom Muggleton out of Southern California.
Oh, well done.
Told him about the modified Tower Hobby 40 he did back in the 90s. He asked how it was running, told him the piston and liner are worn out. He said, good thing it came with a lifetime guarantee. He's going to look it over and install the new piston liner. If it is worn, he will also look at the bearings he installed on the conrod for wear.
I'll be darned.
How about
Outstanding.
that?
Hey, Stephen, does it say where in Southern California he's at?
He says it showed up at the Cuyahoga County Fairgrounds Flying Circles.
I used to see him at the at Whittier Narrows.
Where's Cuyahoga?
I don't know.
Got to be in Michigan or somewhere up there. It ain't in California.
That's in Ohio, just outside Cleveland.
Oh, okay. So Tom Muggleton is from Southern California,
Oh,
and he
he's,
showed up in
Okay.
Ohio.
Okay.
Oh, I see.
Oh,
Okay.
he's standing next to the windmill, Len.
Don't worry,
What
big
club
guy.
is that?
If you're putting the Cox engine on, is the I don't think it's that critical, but the line of center for the engine. Would I kind of split it between the wing here and the?
I would put it as low as you could get it because that wing is so low.
I agree.
Oh, okay.
It's going to be top heavy as it is. So
Yeah.
Okay.
Bob is 100% correct in my opinion also.
Yeah. Go as low as you can.
All right.
Very bottom.
Thanks.
Hey, John Miller snuck in, and so did Ed. How you doing, guys?
Can
Doing
you hear
okay.
me? Can you hear me?
I can. We can.
Oh, good. Okay.
Hear me now? Hear me now?
And see
We
you.
have a problem.
Oh, Bob Hudak says it's Berea, Ohio.
Yep. The Berea Fairgrounds.
Yeah.
I guess they call it Cuyahoga now. That's where Billy flies. since he lost the Cleveland airport site.
Is Billy still flying?
Well, well, not much anymore, but that's where he was flying at the end there. You know, I'm going to see him this week.
All right.
I think his wife is a Gilbert, Bob.
What's that?
I think his wife is a Gilbert. Ask her about that.
A Gilbert?
I think she may be far distant relation to us.
Her last name is Schaffner.
Okay, but I think her, yeah, I know, but I think she comes from the Gilbert line, I think.
Could be. It could be. I noticed she has a lot of ringmasters.
That's right. Bob, he called me probably a year ago and wanted to know all about my ringmaster. He's going to build one. And I said, dude, you don't need anything information from me. Just build that rascal.
He's also going to build an electric barnstormer. Because that's what he started out flying, was barnstormers.
I'll be darned.
Yeah.
I always liked him. Still do.
Was he ever able to? Bob, asked him, was he ever able to find the plants that one of the cheat cows?
I think he has. I was out there. I stayed when I was coming back from someplace out there. I stopped and stayed. When I made that aborted trip to VSC, I came back from Vornholz's house and I stopped at Billy's overnight. And I picked up the Junar, the white Junar, and in his shop he had the plans for it. And I think it did have the cheat cows on it. I got the white Junar downstairs. I'm probably going to take it. It's supposed to convert it to electric, but I didn't get a chance to. So I think I'm going to return it this week or next week.
Ask him, would he be willing to part with a set of those plans?
Okay.
I've been searching for that for about 3 years now, and I still have not found them.
I just went downstairs and searched out to make sure I had a set of Caprice plans for Sparky, and I found them. So.
Sparky needed Caprice plans, or I'd have sent him a set.
Well, I didn't need him until Brodak.
What's that?
I didn't need a set of Caprice plans until Brodak.
You saw how that thing flies.
Remember, I didn't hold a gun to your head on that, So.
I'm gonna tell you what, it's a good flying airplane.
Yeah.
But there's about 3 of them that are right there together, and that's
maybe
just
more now.
Cavalier's a good one.
Cavalier's a real good one.
USA one's a real good one. A Gypsy's a real good one.
Yep. I'll tell you another good one that was one of my favorite classic airplanes was the Mackie Lark.
The Mackie Lark's another good. There's a lot of good classic airplanes.
Excellent wind airplane. Say something else. Robbie and I were talking about this out at the field the other day. He's been doing some trimming, adding and subtracting tabs, trying to get the airplane exactly like you want. He's fanatical about getting it dead perfect, and as we all should be. When we were talking about flaps, and it dawned on me that 3 of the best airplanes, not best airplanes, 3 really good airplanes I've had that flew well in the wind and trimmed out very easily were the Lark, my Avanti, and the Genesis Extreme. And what they had in common was about half to 3/4 span flaps, and say what you will about the difference in lifts from the flaps to the tips. Those things trimmed out well, and they flew great in the wind.
I agree, and I can't tell you why, but there's something that last 6 inches of the wing doesn't even need flaps.
I'm starting to think that too.
3
airplanes now with short, half span flaps or 3/4 span flaps, and they all trimmed out instantly.
Big Blue was like.
See if I can find a picture of that Lark. And
there's things that, and I'm going to use tethered because I not know any of the word. Tethered aviation ain't the same as free flight, dude. It ain't the same.
No.
It's the trimming mechanisms aren't the same as the F-18 Hornet. Okay.
Yeah. All right, here's a picture of that Lark, and Phil should like this picture because I stole the paint scheme from him.
Yeah, I love that picture.
That's a Mackie Lark.
I love that airplane. It was beautiful.
Nose
it flew great.
That nose is Warridge inspired, I think.
Oh yeah, a lot of this one had two-tone bronze on it just to piss him off because he hated the bronze and brown tone. I put two-tone bronze and brown on just to piss him off.
Oh,
But you
Lord.
can see how short
Shame.
the flaps are.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah.
So that's
Yeah.
one of them.
I'm going to tell you what, that thing turned so well.
It did. It was a great, especially in the wind.
Ugh.
It
I
really
think-
turned well. Let me see if I can find the other one now.
Sometimes we load the flaps up so much it disrupts the airplane, in my opinion.
Mm-hmm. And here's
I've got
another one.
I've got opinions, and I'm not always right.
I don't know if I don't know if this one won't show the flaps, unfortunately. Let's see if we can find another picture of this. I had that Avanti, and it was a good airplane. It was short-lived because it had a tank I couldn't get. This is back in '69, and I had a tank that was built in, and it sprung a leak and destroyed the airplane. But it was a good airplane. Let me see if I can find a
Did the
picture.
Avanti have flaps or?
Yes, and
Okay.
had the lead outs came out low in the wing too, John. They weren't center; they were low in the wing.
Really?
16th or better, quarter, good bit.
Are you
Avanti's a heck
talking
of a
about?
Oh, that's not the Avanti I'm talking about.
Well, that's pre-Bob Barron Avanti by
Okay.
several
Oh.
years.
I thought you was talking about.
He stole my name. I didn't steal his name.
So who designed that in the first place?
Me, that's mine.
Ah,
See your little stubby flaps?
Got a
Yep.
ringmaster vertical stab on there.
And a
Yep.
crossfire
S35.
tail.
I
Got
had
a
an
crossfire tail.
I had an OS H40S in it. It
Oh my
worked
gosh.
great.
I got an H out in the garage.
And that's an extended chipmunk. I had chipmunk airfoils and extended wing. And boy, that was a good airplane.
What year was that, Bob?
About
Chipmunk
69.
Okay.
That
That's
chipmunk
classic
wing works
legal
in a
then.
lot of things.
That's classic legal airplane.
Yeah.
Why is not somebody building one of them? That's cool.
Because
I
I've never
actually have
seen
the-
one until
I
right
have the
now.
plans to the fuselage, and I could extrapolate what the wing was. It's not a big deal, you know. But there's
That's
one
cool.
more airplane then that had, you know, that had the shorter flaps and flew good. Let's go. Let me see if I can find a good picture of it. Oh, it's a long time.
Stuart's working back there. He's ciphering on something,
yeah, he's making his motor mount.
doing something constructive.
Yeah.
Sparky's being constructive. I'm gonna get my airplane flight in the living room. This keeps up.
Joe, you are an original, brother. I'm telling you.
I know, but they're having fun without me. Dadgummit. We can't do that.
Was it Tom Lay that had the 010
Oh, there we
power
go.
Oh,
ringmaster?
yeah.
See how little the flaps are and how short they are?
Oh,
Look at the
wow.
airplane in front of you. It's got
Look
small
what's sitting
flaps,
beside
too.
him.
Yeah, that's has even smaller flaps.
That's even smaller. That's a ringmaster looking flap right there, like my ringmaster, the 576. That's
Look
Billy's
what's sitting beside
P47.
the Genesis, guys.
In 2010, that prop hit him and cut him, and he won that event with the cut hand open.
Yeah,
The
I
only
was there when
caveat
that
to this is
happened.
you have to build it light if you use that little bit of flap. And that airplane was light. It's 54 ounces with the battery on board.
How many squares is that, Bob?
635.
680. That's all.
Yeah, it's not real big. But it sure flies good. It flies in the wind. Again, all three of those airplanes, the one characteristic they had in common was they were so easy to fly in the wind.
I think the trailing edge line, hinge line,
Mhm.
I think they fly better in the wind too.
They do because they
Can't
have
tell you what.
lower stick pressure.
It does. I've had a Wildcat and a T6 and a Chipmunk. All three of those had that tapered. And they just don't load the handle up in the wind. And it really makes your tail moment longer than it appears.
Right.
Because you get the average of that.
Well, yeah, you're going from the center of lift, you know, when the flaps are deployed.
That's exact. There's some
it's
pluses.
further up on the wing.
That's correct.
I
Yeah,
love all my airplanes have swept forward trailing edges now. Every one of them.
Yeah, my Colossus swept forward.
What's that?
What's it?
My Colossus,
Yeah.
it had a swept forward trailing edge.
Yep.
What do you mean had?
Well, it still does. It's on the rack. It's kind of retired.
I flew that
Yeah,
one.
well.
The BSC.
You flew
I got
that?
one downstairs.
Yeah.
I got one downstairs I'm working on. It's got to be covered and painted, but it's coming.
You know,
It's the only
Phil,
one of your airplanes.
One of these
after
one of these
flown-
days I'm gonna show you all some planes because
that's what I was
finally,
going to suggest. That,
I'm gonna
on
finally
one of these
finish some.
hangouts, Phil.
We got the talking part done.
Yeah, you set
We
you
just need a
set
little
up down
action.
in your shop and show us all the stuff you're working on.
Lord, my
What do you
shop is so cluttered right now. I don't think the camera could see that.
Mine's
We
embarrassing.
don't care about that.
Mine's embarrassing.
Gordy,
Mine's beyond
Colossus-
embarrassing, Joe.
The Colossus is the only airplane of yours after which flying it, I couldn't scratch my ankles without bending over. The two twins.
It pulled hard, did it?
The Colossus didn't, but is Gemini twin and that too much or too much or
Too
too bit?
Too much.
2 bits or
much.
something.
The too much.
No,
Boy,
too
that
much.
thing pulled apart.
No,
Yeah,
he's got
let
it too, he did it too
Fancher-
much. It was huge.
Yeah, I let Ted Fancher fly my Gemini. And when the outboard engine quit, you hear him say, "Thank God."
He complained about that for 2 years.
My arm hurt for a month. It really
Terrible
did.
Ted,
My
go on, tell
tendons hurt for a month.
Joe's
Oh,
flying.
Lord.
There we go. There's a model airplane flight.
Fly one every day. Look at that. Don't hit, baby. Come down. There you go. Ooh, it
I
hit.
moved the camera over.
Yeah, all
What
we
you
can
got?
see is a shadow.
It hit. You couldn't see it?
No,
No, we
No.
saw the shadow.
there
It
you
hit,
go.
it hit the ceiling.
What was it? An
Oh.
airplane?
Indoor
Yeah, it's
free.
a little rotor
Indoor
powered
free flight.
Indoor free
Ah.
flight.
Let's see it do a square.
Yeah.
No, you're
Yeah.
talking about
I did figure one thing out about that. If you're going to fly one of those in the house,
Oh, look at that.
you make sure somebody don't walk in and say, "Hey, let's turn some lights on and turn on an overhead
Is that a
fan."
penny plane?
Oh, the Easy Bee.
Oh, Easy B. Yeah.
I just modified it where it flies a tight circle.
Yeah, look at that.
Cool.
I
It's
just
gonna
think
hit you on the next go round there, Joe. Watch out.
Colleen is a saint.
He is.
It's not catching
have
any
to-
thermals, Joe.
We have to keep a better eye on Joe, though. He's got himself all mixed up. Look at there. He got the rudder on the bottom.
Isn't that something? How's that dumb thing do that?
I don't know, but they are cool. It's so
Wright brothers would
fascinating.
like to know.
What?
I say the Wright brothers would like to know.
This is a Wright Brothers airplane. That's exactly what it is.
No, you're talking about flaps, and the only one that even close to full span was the twin. None of my other airplanes, none of them have a full span flap.
Mm-hmm. There's something to that. If you look at those sharks, they got full span flaps, but they're so little at the end, there's almost no effect to them at all.
Yeah.
I'm convinced that's something to explore.
Gordon, I think like on your Pathfinder LE, you got about 80 to 82% of the span for flap.
Yeah, they're not full span though.
That's right. And they work real well.
That's
as far as
just
I'm
neat.
concerned.
Plus, I don't move them much either.
Got redirected by the fan there.
Yeah, tried to attack you, Joe.
It did hit the fan.
Is that a kit or is that something you
It's just
designed
straight
yourself?
Built off plans.
Something you designed yourself?
No, it was a plan, and I just built it off the plans.
You know you're going to have to publish those plans now, Joe.
Somebody named Frank Macy did it in Tulsa, Oklahoma years ago.
Oh yeah, Frank Macy.
That's a Frank Macy designed airplane. It's got a few little changes
Published some of his
I
airplanes.
made. This is kind of neat. Joe Bowman told me about this, and it was brilliant. It's got a little piece of tubing right there. Can you see that tubing?
Yeah.
And this can slide in and out.
Oh, Judge. Oh, there you go. Yeah.
So to make it turn tighter, you just tilt that up more to make it turn more. You can make it change the
ain't
turn
that
rate.
something?
You're not married to a turn rate that way.
And it's a two-piece airplane, so you can carry it on a full-size airplane now.
Yeah, it's a three-piece. The wing comes off, prop comes off. I don't know. Rubber band and all, it weighs less than 3 grams.
You
Wow.
can figure out how to make that fly the pattern. You could go.
I'm just tickled it flies around the room, John.
Yeah. What's that?
Joe?
What's that covered with?
Called condenser paper.
Yeah.
You can almost
Condenser
see
paper.
through it. The thing's so flimsy. Look.
Huh.
Yeah.
That's why it can run into the fan and still fly.
Like you look at the angle attack on the wing, you can twist the booms and make that change the wing twist just by twisting on the booms. See that?
Yeah.
Just twist the boom, make it change.
How much tip weight do you have in it?
You know, that's interesting. I was so confused when I started. This wing is bigger than this wing, and it turns left. They want this wing bigger to turn flat, and then of course the rudder's offset. And I did all that on purpose to make it turn tight in the house. You
Right.
wouldn't want it turning that tight in a gym. You're wasting energy. But for what I'm playing with the house, you know, if you get 30 seconds, that's for me, that's good. I mean, there's people that get more than that, I'm sure. But for me, 30 seconds is.
Joe, I'm bringing the Sig Cub to the Nats along with the Sky Bunny. You
I
saw
like
my
the
Sky Bunny.
I got a Sky Bunny out the hangar.
You saw my Sky Bunny fly at the campground that one night, but I got this Sig Cub, which is unflown. It's brand new, unflown. So
I'll be darned. Oh, that's
I'm gonna bring
cool.
this.
I've never seen that. That's a kit, huh?
Yeah, Sig Cub. Yep.
I don't know that airplane.
I just
Pacific
put
prop.
the trim tabs on it.
Yep, you just use rubber bands to put the fuselage on.
Yeah.
Then-
I don't know where the CG is yet.
Well, you'll figure all that out. But you know, if you have a little piece of matchstick, you can change the instance on the wing to get it to fly where you want it.
Yeah. Hey,
Cool,
Joe,
kid.
I can bring some Delta Dart kits if you want to build one at the Nats and have a fly off. I got a school pack in there with 30 kits in it. I can.
Are you
bring it.
serious?
No,
Where
I'm
did
dead
you
serious.
find that?
I bought it online.
With 30 Delta Darts.
Oh, well, the kit comes with like 42 or something.
Man, I haven't built a Delta Dart since I was 10 years
did
old.
them-
like that.
We did them with Sam's scout troop when he was younger. And then I think I sent John Miller a bunch to do. And
Yeah, he
then
wants
we were
to-
going to do a mail thing and the hangout, and I just never got around to sending them out.
Oh, that's so much fun.
I got
You
a
can
builder's
lose them.
pack.
They'll fly good enough to lose them, Mike.
You can lose them.
You can lose them.
I should bring him to the Nats and bring a glue stick, and we should have a.
Well, bring me one or build. I'll build two. I'll get Blanchard to build one too. We'll build that at the hotel.
Will you build one at the hotel?
Yeah, I'll build one down. I will. I'll take some glue and a glue stick to put the paper on. Yeah, I'll build one. What? How big a rubber does it take? Do you remember?
I got all the rubber, and I got.
Oh, you do?
I got rubbers and lube for you, Joe.
Okay.
Oh
my
It's
God.
Here we go.
it's
We got-
Midwest products, man. It's
I
the
never-
builders.
Oh my gosh, I've never seen that.
It's
That's so cool.
it's everything, man. It's all the props, all the balsa.
Little red Pacific props.
So I'll throw it in the truck, and anyone who wants to build one at the Nats, we can build
I'll
one.
build
at
one
the
for
Oh,
sure. Him Stagg will probably build one too, I bet.
So you need a glue stick,
I got it. No,
and you need a razor blade. You don't necessarily have to have a building board or anything, but piece of foam board. I mean, the hotel desk table would work. For
I'll
it.
bring a piece of foam. I know how to do all that.
Hey, whatever. Anyone who's coming to Nats, you want to build one, bring a little foam board or something, or not.
I'll put my foam board in the truck. I got that covered.
Yeah, look at that, Joe. You get a whole bag of props.
Oh my gosh, that is
Wow.
so cool, Monkey.
Yeah, there's all your 332nd sticks. So you're only gonna get 9 for each airplane because it takes 8.5 to build an airplane. You only get 9 of these.
9 stick, leading edges, trailing edges, tail feathers.
No mistakes. And then there's I got 25 kits. Those are the motor sticks right there.
We'll have some fun with them one evening.
I think we will. And I got the right lube, and there's a whole bag of rubber that came with it, but I got extra rubbers always. Always carry extra rubbers.
In your wallet?
Everywhere.
Yeah, in his wallet.
You know, when if you had when I was a little boy, I call them flight streaks,
Yeah.
wind up airplanes.
Yeah.
And they were a quarter, then 29 cents. If you'd had some FAI
streak.
rubber, you could have loved them. What do you call them, Mike?
Sleek
streaks. If you'd had FAI rubber, you could have lost that burger. It'd have flown away.
Those are the ones that were painted blue on balsa.
Red, scallop
Yeah.
red, and the
Yeah,
whole
red.
wing fit in a little piece. You slid the wing in a notch, then the
Just
notch
build on
slid
the
on the
plan.
fuselage. Oh my goodness, that's so cool, Lunky.
Just build on the plan.
Oh, wow.
I'm gonna put my
Yeah,
foam
this
in.
whole kit with I think, what did it say? I think it came with 40 or 42 airplanes.
Oh
It was
my
like
goodness.
$80 or something like that. It's like $2 an airplane. You know, they sell them at Muncie, but they charge you like $8 for one.
12, yes.
For one?
For one. Yeah,
Look,
these
John
are
Miller's
free.
got one right there. Look
There
at
we
John.
go. John's already got one built.
Yeah.
That's one that Mike sent me.
Perfect.
Good flying little thing. Just fun.
All right. Well, I'm gonna put this in the truck. I'm gonna throw a bunch of razor blades in there too.
I'll throw the form board and some pins in. You can build that in an hour.
Oh yeah, pins would be good, Joe. If you got pins,
Bring pins, bring some wax paper to lay it on. Oh, we'll have fun doing that.
there.
When I was a little kid, Daddy was a veteran, and we had a pretty good model club in town, and he got the VFW, I think it's called, and we had building times, but the trick was everybody had to build the same airplane. So there'd be 10 or 12 people. Everybody built a flight streak. Everybody built a shoestring. Everybody built a buster. And what was amazing about that was the guys that were better at it would come and build an airplane, but they get that part done. They'd help the ones that didn't know how to build.
Yeah.
So we would have 10 flight streaks or 10 busters, or he did it a half a dozen times over the years, but it was always a profile, and McCoy or Fox 35, and everybody had to build the same airplane. That way, the ones that got done early could help the ones that got behind. And it
Don't
was a
forget
good
Scotch
deal.
tape, Joe.
I didn't.
Okay.
Okay.
You know,
What do you
years ago, Joe, I took a flight streak to Buckeye, and I got out of the car, and Phil Granard says, "Hey, Gordy, there's no slow combat." And I says, "Your fast combat couldn't keep up with this flight streak." He says, "Well, how fast is it?" And I says, "It'll run 120. "Yeah, I got a stopwatch here. I'd like to see that." Well, I was getting ready to fire it up, and Bart walked across the circle and picked the handle up. And he says, "What you got?" And I put my hand over the engine and short, "Oh, fly streak, go ahead, launch it." He did the whole stunt pattern. We clocked it 119.19.
Oh my gosh.
Man.
What to have
Yeah.
Johnson 35 on 30% nitro?
No, we had the KB 40 on 40% nitro.
Oh my goodness.
You know, rear rotor.
Yeah. It's a miracle
Rear
the tail
rotor.
feather. It's a miracle the tail
Lord
feather
have
stayed on.
mercy.
Rear intake.
God,
And
y'all were mean.
I told Mark, I says, "Can you build me a 36? Yeah. So he put a 29 crank and McCoy 40 liner in it. I didn't realize he machined the fins off so it fit the case. And we went to the first money net that Phil had. And he come over and said, "We got a lot of protesters. You know, that engine only ran 111. But back then, most people run 105 on a Voodoo." And he says they're complaining they think you're cheating. You're gonna have to pull your engine down. And I says, you don't go to a Indy race and pull the engine down before a race. They pull it down after the race. And he said, yeah, that's right. So we'll pull it down after the contest. Well, one of the guys there we got in line time. I won my first 5 or 6 matches, and we got a line entanglement, and he crashed, and he gave me the handle, so I had both handles in my hand. And this pit man ran out there and just yanked it as hard as he could and buried my flight streak.
Oh,
So Bart and I went to the hobby shop, and we scratch built the flight streak and added 2 more ounces of the tank because it only runs 2.5 minutes. So we added 2 more ounces to it, put it in the wing, and went out there and was trying to get to run. It was sick, and it chewed up the rear rotor is made out of some kind of nylon or something, and it chewed it all up, and the motor didn't want to run right. And Phil walked over and says, what are you guys doing? I said, I'm trying to get this motor to run. He says, there, Charlie Johnson that just launched, you're supposed to be flying him. Oh, okay. So we swapped the lines on another airplane, had a Johnson on it, went out there and the plug was burned on it. So I had to change the plug. Unfortunately, I lost to Charlie.
Charlie Johnson that did all the pictures for the Nats 2 years ago. That Charlie Johnson.
Yep.
Yeah, Mark Fettner built a custom head and a custom back plate for it. And Hy Johnson saw it after I was flying there at San Diego. And what was his buddy's name? Was it Jack Garcia? Anybody remember? Anyway, he told Hy Johnson, he says, I can see the back plate through the Venturi. And he said, oh, you can't either. And so he handed the airplane to Hy Johnson. He looked at that and holy crap, that's a big hole. He says, fast? I said, yeah, it's very fast for Johnson. So he says, why don't you come over to my car for a minute? He opens up the trunk. He says, I have 2 brand new in the box Johnson Combat Specials. I'll trade you for your engine. I says, normally I'd do that, but my friend built that custom for me, and I wouldn't feel right about trading it off. And I still have it. It's on a combat plane.
all right.
That's cool.
Yeah.
You know, Gordy, your best combat story, in my opinion, when you had to fly with that gal, and afterward,
Charlie Johnson's girlfriend.
Yeah, tell that story.
Well, Charlie Johnson's girlfriend was there, and I didn't know that they were an item. And Phil says, have you watched that gal fly? And I said, no. He says, you better, because you're going to have to fly her. He says, she's won 3 matches in a row. She says, she can't fly inverted. The airplane turns extremely tight. And she does it half an outside, then an inside, and she's got you. And I said, okay. So when I flew her, instead of following through, I'd do an inside when she'd do an outside. I end up beating her, and she gives me a handshake, and I says, a handshake? That's all we get? She reaches around, puts her arm around my waist, and pulls me over and lays one on me. And Charlie Johnson was the field marshal, and he got the PA system. And we probably went 8 or 10 laps on that kiss. And Charlie Johnson says, the match is over. 8 seconds later, the match is over. I said the match was over. I found out it was his girlfriend.
Oh, my.
You sly old dog, Gordy.
Yeah. Hey, Mark Weiss slipped in on us.
All right.
How you doing, Mark?
I'm doing good.
You whopped it good.
Steve, I'm doing good, and I see we have an intermediate judge,
Yes, we do.
and
He can't stay the whole week though, unfortunately.
Right. Yeah. No, I'm doing good. Just staying busy with the gnats, and
you're with your dad.
Bob and I are trying to help the what is it, Bob? The
FAI team program.
FAI team
program. Let's not get back into that.
No.
We're gonna table that tonight.
We're gonna table it. We're having too much fun with combat stories.
Yeah. No, we're doing good.
Hey, Gordy, tell the story about Tom Warden and free flight.
Oh, okay. Tom Warden and his friend come through Salt Lake and was gonna spend a day or two before going to the Nats. And we had our annual contest where they flew all control line and free flight. And it was at the Salt Flats. And Mark lost his free flight. And he told me where the line was. So Tom and his friend took my car and drove around to the highway. And I just went straight through the sagebrush. And it had a little canal there. And I thought, oh, I can jump that. Well, I jumped it, went clear to my knees and went over backwards. And this mud is not normal mud because of all the salt. And it stunk so bad. So I got up, get over there, and Tom spots the other free flight. We found Jay Jackson's and Mark's airplane. Well, I got Mark's, and he went out after Jay's, and it was sitting in about 6 inches of water. And he says, I says, how are you going to get that? He says, easy. And he had this big plank laying there, and there's a post sticking out of it. And he put the plank on that post, so it was kind of wobbly. And Tom walks out there with his hands, did a good job, bends down, just squats, and leans over without leaning too far and grabs it by a wingtip, pulls the airplane over, does a 180, throws the airplane to us, and we caught it, and he fell off. He went clear to his waist.
Oh, gee.
Oh, Lord.
He pulled himself out, and guess what? No shoes.
Oh, no.
His arm and face down in there, pulls out these scuzzy looking shoes. And we walked back to the car, and I said, you're not getting in my car like that. Said, well, you're just as bad. And I said, I'm not getting in either. Your friend's going to drive, and we're going to sit on the fender. So we put the car there, free flights in the trunk, and drove over and dropped them off. And so we stripped down to our shorts. So we got my car and took him out to my house. My wife washed all the clothes and his shoes for him. And he put a flight on his Tempest and just about planted it in the salt. He wasn't used to that thin air. But he did a pretty good job. And some guy wanted to take a picture, so we swapped airplanes. I had my Warburton Tony, and he had the Tempest. So I took the Tempest, and he took my Warburton. They published it and says, "Oh, Tom Warren with his beautiful Warburton Tony, and Gordon Delaney with his Tempest." So,
Did you ever go out to Whittier when they were running the burn barrels?
go where?
Whittier, when they run the burn barrels? They
I'm
go
not
out
sure.
They go out so early they light a fire in the burn barrels and warm up with them barrels.
No, I don't remember that.
Yeah.
I remember they had a contest once. You take your airplane, and they had a 55-gallon drum, and you had to fly over and try to plant the airplane into the
That's really
55-gallon drum.
That's hard to do.
Yeah.
I think it's crazy to take a dang airplane and balloon bust, and these idiots take one and do a figure 9 intentionally right over top and right into that barrel. Oh gosh,
It's hard to wing over into a barrel.
It's hard to do more than once.
Yeah, with the
that's-
same
that's for
airplane,
sure.
I guarantee you.
I
Yeah.
think years ago, Jim Lee used to have a called an auto, I think, a helicopter thing,
It's a gyroscope.
gyrocopter, and he was deadly at balloon bust, y'all.
Oh yeah.
I flew Mark's twin in balloon bust. I just lined up the fuselage and it didn't matter which side the balloon was on.
He's gonna get
never missed a balloon. I think if Mark knew I was doing that, he probably would have hung me.
the sticks can be hard on your leading edges, even.
Yeah.
Well, back then we was using quarter squares.
Oh, son, balsa.
Yeah,
That'd
balsa.
be better. That'd be better than 1/8" dowel rod we used.
Yeah.
Guarantee you.
What was the promise you broke when Mark let you take his twin to the first contest that you took it to?
What's that?
Remember you borrowed his twin.
Oh, when I went to Buckeye?
Yeah, and you promised him there was something you wouldn't do with it.
Oh, that was here in Salt Lake, out in Granger. He wanted me to fly it, and he'd never done a pattern with it. And so I flew it, and there's the hourglass, vertical 8. He says, I don't want you doing those. Well, I did the vertical 8, and I said, I'm doing the hourglass. So I ran around, and I did part of it, and just flew out straight at the top, and I did that about 3 times. And he's screaming. People in Salt Lake probably heard him yelling at me. I went ahead and did the hourglass, and the overheads, and the 4-leaf, and he said, I told you not to do that. And I says, Mark, I would have done it if I knew the airplane couldn't. I says, you're afraid of the airplane because you got millions of hours building it. And he says, fly it again.
Well, there's also the story about Jimmy flying yours down at Buckeye when you had the retracts in it.
Oh, yeah, we both flight on the same flight, and they didn't come down.
How long did he whip it?
Well, I whipped it for a while. Oh, no, you're right. He came out and flew it to see the difference with the gear up, and it made a big difference. And Bobby can testify to that. And the engine quit. Pretty soon the other one quit, and the gear's still up. So he started whipping. And, you got an airplane out there on 70 feet of line is a little hard to whip.
Oh, something.
He whipped it, and pretty soon he says, if you don't want me to land this on asphalt, get your butt out here. So I ran out, and he got some speed and climbed up. I grabbed the handle and took it and picked up the recovery. And I whipped it as long as I could. Finally, I says, I'm done whipping it. So I started the approach, and all of a sudden the gear go, so the speed fire started clapping.
I saw you do something at a contest, fella that was upset. Motor quit while he was inverted. And you old combat flyer, you stood out there and it came by, you grabbed that airplane and saved it out of the air. I remember that. Remember doing that? I think it was the Whittier Narrows I saw you do it. But I know you did it other places.
You're talking about dead stick?
Upside down dead stick, yeah.
Yeah, with the twin. I did that at Nats.
Yeah.
The one engine quit because it was too rich. I didn't own a tachometer then, but I got one right after that.
Well, I saw you in 95 Nats, wind flying the darn thing. The wind was blowing so bad.
Well, that's what I was getting to. Anyway, when it quit, I just started doing some square 8s and square loops. And, Dirty Dan yelled out there, that's got to be a combat flyer out there. And
you should have heard the noise, the slipstream noise that airplane made. I think the wind was blowing 20 or better.
Yeah.
And
40 half A's are the best for that, man. I love it when it's blowing 25 with a half A combat plane. You can just fly as long as you want.
Well, you could hear the slipstream noise on that. That was a Gemini twin, and it just whoa, 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 whoa.
Oof. Oof.
Hey, let's take a look at one of your half A's you're going to be flying there, Mike.
What's that?
Let me see one of your half A's you're going to be flying.
Okay. You might know a couple of these airplanes. First off, I'm flying a Dawson Little Buzzard, man. There's
that's a kitty.
There's nothing
What
better.
What engine?
I got a Profi on this one. There's a Profi on this one. I like the Profis. I think they're faster than the Cyclone and the Fora. Sammy is also flying a Little Buzzard. It's a earlier version, so it's a little bit bigger, but this is also a Dawson plane. And we got a Cyclone on this one because it's a little bit bigger airplane than the other one. So Cyclone on that one.
How much do they weigh?
I don't know. I didn't weigh them. I know what the motors weigh, but I don't know what the airplanes weigh. But you might know these two airplanes. These are Buzz Wilson airplanes, man. You know Buzz?
Yeah.
You know Buzz?
Yes, I know of him.
Yeah, Buzz is great, man. He gave these to Sam at the Nats. I don't know, like 5 years ago or something, and we have flown these at the Nats every year since the day Buzz gave them to us.
Wow.
And we got Cyclones on both of these. So we actually had 4 of these to start with. There's only 2 left, but we still fly them. We still use them. And then the last 2 things, we only got six usable half A's. Everything else was broken up. These are old Vicos, whatever, old Russian half A's. And these both have Profis on them. So,
which ones fly best? Those or the other ones?
I'll be honest with you, the Dawson Little Buzzard is probably the best half A airplane out there, man. You can't beat it. Because it's a foamy, so it's tough. You crash a lot in half A or you have a midair. And these don't stand up. You crash them or have a midair, you're broken and you can't get back in the air. With the foamies, one piece of packing tape around the wing, you're back up in the air because it's a kill match, right? So you want to be up there and get the kill. But yeah, I got like 8 other half A's up there, but they're all broken and we just didn't have time to do good repairs on them. So we got 6. Columbo's bringing me 4 more brand new Dawson Little Buzzards if we need them. So we're set. We got what we need, and all our Profis, all the Cyclones, and the 1 Fora, they all got new bearings over the winter. You guys probably remember my Profi problem where I had a stuck race in one of them. But anyway, they're all fresh motors, so they should be good. Should be good.
Yeah, my best friend has passed away. He won half A combat at the Nats, and I got the airplane.
Oh, that's awesome. When was that?
It's a foamy. Oh, it was late 80s, early 90s, somewhere in there.
Who was your friend?
Jim Womack.
Say it again.
Jim Womack.
Womack. I think I know. I recognize the name. I never met him though.
Yeah, he's flown in Midwest when he was younger.
Well, I'm really looking forward to flying some combat this year because I flew stunt last year. Sam didn't come to the Nats last year because it was August because of the World Champs and all that. So we haven't been to a Nats together in 2 years, and he's flying F2D team trials, F2D, but we're both flying F2D fast, outlaw fast. We're both flying half A, and we're both flying speed limit. So I'm really looking forward to it, man. It's going to be a great week, man. It's just going to be awesome to get out of here and go fly some combat with my kid, man. It's going to be great.
Hello.
Plus,
What engine are you running on the fast combats? Are you running Nelson's?
no, F2D Fast, Outlaw Fast, which is Fast 2D. Are you familiar with that event?
No.
It's F2D with one airplane, and it's all the old illegal motors that you cannot fly in FAI combat anymore since they changed the muffler and Venturi sizes. FAI combat F2D used to have an 8mm muffler and a 6mm Venturi. Around 2010, they changed it to a 6mm muffler and a 4mm Venturi because the planes were going so fast. So all these guys got all this equipment, all these motors from the 90s and the early 2000s. Venturis are too big, mufflers are too big. So MACA created an event called F2D Fast for those motors.
Those
And
15s?
it's just like half a combat or big block fast. It's one airplane combat and it's kills. It's a kill event. But you can use your old illegal F2D motors for the event.
And that's a 15, right?
It's a 15, correct. So it's old Zalps, it's old Cyclones, it's old Foras and Profis, but
They don't fly big blocks anymore?
Yeah, they still fly big block. Big block is going to be held on Saturday. Big block fast with Nelson's. We don't fly it anymore. We're not flying it. I actually sold all my Nelsons this winter, except the one, because I had 8 Nelsons, and I get to fly them one time a year at the Nats because the bladder grabber's over. There's no other fast events. It's stupid to have 8 $400 motors sitting around here that I get to fly one time a year. So got rid of them, turned them into cash. And the guy I sold them to actually just started flying them this week, and he loves them. He's tickled to death, man. He's happy to have them. So they went to a good home.
That's good. I got 2
Well
Nelsons. I've got 2 Nelsons on my Challengers.
You also have a couple of wicked foxes.
What's that?
You also have a couple of pretty wicked foxes.
I don't know what you're talking about, Joe.
Those Fox combat engines you've got?
Oh. Well, I got a OS that Mark hopped up and swapped it over to a ring instead of the cast piston that they used. Nobody liked that motor, but with the ring motor, it was the same bore with different strokes. So we got a couple from the 40s, put them in our 35 case, and one broke a crank. I used to run 40% in it. And back then, it was running 114, which was really fast at that era. And anyway, Todd Lee saw I had an OS in my engine collection, so he sent me a used one in a box. So I stole the crank out of it, then bored out the bushing and put in a new bushing there and put it back together. But Mark had made it double ball bearing. It comes usually a single, but I had no way to grind the crank down to fit the bearing, so I just put it back like it was from the factory. And that sucker hauls butt. You know, and I said, I can't remember it going that fast when I was flying it. But it must have a real good ring and piston fit. Or ring and liner.
Gordy, I am so looking forward to fly. I love half A combat. I love high performance half A. It's probably my favorite event. I don't know why. I don't know if it's because they're little and they're 049s, but it's fast and it's a kill event. I love kill events. You know, I don't want to fly for cuts and time. I want to go up and murder the guy. and kill them.
Kill
I
him.
don't know. I like cafe.
Kill, I got veins in my teeth.
Graveyard
Kill you.
dead combat's what that is.
It is, man. And
Graveyard dead.
we don't, me and Sam get to fart around with it, the two of us, but there just isn't enough half-A contests to go to. And then, the Nats are it, man. So when we go there, we'll probably have 15 entries, so it's going to be fun.
Columbo will be there.
Oh, yeah. Ronnie's going to be there. I talked to him this morning. So
Columbo was a Brodax.
I know he was.
My favorite event used to be the 15s until they started flying the Russian stuff.
Right. Well, yeah, because Henry's engines used to be competitive in FAI when it first came around, but the Nelson 15s, nobody's flying. Everyone's flying Foras now. It's Fora, that's it. Everybody flies the same stuff.
Yeah, back in the day, I was running at 100 with the modified Super Chi 21s. And then I got a Nelson 15 and put it on one I call the Saturn. And it's not practical for combat because it's got a tapered airfoil, tapered leading edge, tapered trailing edge. But it flies really good. And with the Nelson, it'll run 110. So it'd blow my little G15s right in the dirt.
Yeah, I tell you, there really isn't much difference in what people are flying in FAI combat, other than everybody's running the same motors, but the airframes, it's pretty much all elliptical, carbon fiber, trailing edges. The designs are almost identical. It just depends who you buy them from. The Italians, the Moldovans, the Russians, or the Ukrainians. They weigh the same. Some guys are still flying straight trailing edge stuff with a Wackerman tail on them. But it really is. It's like NASCAR now. Everybody uses the same equipment. Everybody has the same motor with the same muffler and venturi, and you got to use contest fuel. You all got to draw from the same jug. So it's really it's a flying event. It's a pilot event.
Yes. Yep.
Because everybody has the same across the board. There really isn't an advantage to flying one airplane over another. Because the equipment's the same. So it really comes down to the pilot and the pit crew and not screwing up and getting penalties or DQs and stuff like that. So I like that.
They turn and a lot faster than they did when I quit flying combat. They're very impressive.
Yeah. The AMA events are still cool, though. I mean, like I said, I like half A. I like speed limit. The AMA events are still fun because there's some variety there. In half A, it could be any airplane design. You got guys flying foamies. You got guys flying home builts. You got guys flying, Russian or Ukrainian designs. As long as the engine is an 049, that's all that matters. Speed limit is a really crazy event because it's any airplane, any motor up to a 40, as long as it doesn't go faster than 75 miles an hour. So you got guys flying F2D airplanes with 15s. You got guys flying big giant foamies with 40s.
Oh, really?
You can fly a ringmaster. You can fly a ringmaster in speed limit as long as you don't go over 75 miles an hour.
Yeah, I'd take a flight streak over a ringmaster.
Hey guys, let me end the stream here on YouTube. Hey, I want to appreciate you guys watching. Please like, subscribe, and share. I noticed that we have 154 views and only 27 likes. Why isn't there more likes? Now it's 26.
Maybe they don't like it.
They don't like us.
Don't watch it then.
Yeah.
All right, we'll see you later. Fair winds,
Okay.
sky lines. See ya.
Marky, we have to talk about marketing.
Yeah.